They subscribe them for the sketches, for the funny content. And then those people start to promote their music or start to promote their services. And I'm like, yo, bitch, shut up. I subscribe for the memes. Like, give me the memes. I don't want your service. I don't want your content. Don't give it to me. I don't like it for the most part. And then what? Because you can't.
That goes back to doing the content for your potential clients, artists.
It has to be super like strategically planned out. Like, how many useful posts do you do, and like sprinkle it in with some sketches. But like, if you only do that, and this is the way you get exposure on TikTok. You don't get much exposure with proper content, quote unquote, with like deep content. You know, top funnel content by itself is not very deep, but you know what I mean. TikTok is a little bit it's even more dumbed down than Instagram due to the demographic being younger, but also to the platform, to the context of the platform. This is how you do things on TikTok, memes. And then you start doing something else, and people are like, no, stay with the memes. That's the first thing. I'm like, I don't want to be known for the memes. Like, I'm all about the memes. Send it to me, but like, I'm not, about making memes on a daily.
Right. You're just recycling them anyway.
Like, I'm the funk lord, not the meme lord.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. And then the second thing is, for me, I'm looking into what can I create on the side to kind of diversify my income. And, based on my content that I produce, I can create a course, a paid webinar, like attend a paid webinar in 2 weeks with me on how to produce funky pop music that's timeless from A to B, or like from 0 to 100 in 4 hours. It's $27. I can create that, and I can, send it to my email list or to my subscribers, and some of them will attend because they know me for that. If they know me only for the memes, what is the product I can create out of the memes that, there's no product, there's no skill to monetize unless, you're a comedian. Then you do sketches, then you go into Comedy Central. I'm just, joking.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm with you. Spread the whole thing. I think this is like probably the biggest takeaway for the audience is like being razor focused with what your intent is. Who are you trying to reach? What are you doing to draw them into your circle? Versus, spreading yourself thin, doing too much of this, too much of that, like niching down, like doing what you do best and only focusing
slowly
on it,
over time. You don't need to do it like right now. Like, fuck it, I'm niching down.
Yeah, no, totally. But I love how you're just able to go, just all the way in on one thing, and not think about the other distractions, and just kind of do your best work because of that. Because I think in the world we're living in now is a world of distraction.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Also, this is the future.
You talked about attention, and I'm slowly losing my shit because I can't keep an attention span that even 2 years ago I had much more of.
Yep.
And I'm more stressed out than I've ever been. It's much harder for me to focus on one thing than it's ever been. And thank God for the Jewish Sabbath. Otherwise, I probably would have lost my mind a long time ago. That really, really keeps me sane, not going on my phone for 25 hours. I think the world needs a lot more of that right now, of that focus.
Yeah.
Of just like, this is what I'm doing.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, mindfulness.
Meditation. That's the future. Again, magic words. Very, very overhyped words. But basically, it comes down to sitting down and focusing on your shit.
We weren't evolved to process the amount of shit that we process every single day. We weren't evolved for that. We're, let's go pick some berries. Let's hunt some animals. Like, I probably read 500 WhatsApps today. That's absurd.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It
is. And it's still a problem for me as well. I might start the week strong again, and then I'll slide back into that towards the end of the week, and then I decompress on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Definitely.
Edward, before we run out of time, I do want to jump into the sauce segment, which didn't exist on your first episode.
Yeah.
So you sent me a song before we jumped on the call called She Don't Love Me, featuring Love Speak by 22 Bullets. So we'll just have a quick listen to that and talk about what went into it. Sound cool?
Sure.
So funky. Super fresh, dude. I'm just like, the audience can't see this obviously because it's a podcast, but I'm like shaking my head,
yeah, boy.
Like left to right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds great. First things that jumped out in my mind were the vocal effect, because it's obviously fomented or something,
right?
And like those kind of sparkly kind of synth things that you're kind of known for doing, and just super tight rhythm track, bass, drums, super fun. Yeah, tell me a bit about that track.
Yeah, this is a track I helped this guy called 22 Bullets produce. He's on the top 100 DJ list, whatever. I don't know the place. Maybe like, I don't know. Like, but he's known. He's on Dharma. He's on Spinnin'. He's pretty known in Asia because he's from Thailand. And Love Speak is a guy from Amsterdam, and he's been on a bunch of records. He's been, dude. He wrote for David Guetta, for any top DJ you look at. Like, granted, I'm not big into EDM classically, but this track is a little bit more, mainstream, like pop, house, a little bit funk in there.
Yeah, the drums, you can feel that kind of house thing happening.
Definitely. And the piano, like
those chords.
House record, exactly. So 22 Bullets, he's a good friend of mine. So he reached out to me with a basic demo. We had the vocal before, so I didn't form it. I didn't process the vocal a lot. I mixed it in the end. I mixed the whole record. I mastered it. That was all me. But the vocal has been like that from the beginning. And he also had a basic demo track, but the chords were different. And he's like, dude, can you like come up with a cool chord progression that would make it work in house, not funk, not pop, like house. I'm like, sure. And the way I produce is I usually I produce like a funk band, like a slow ass funk band, like 100 BPM.
For the audience, if you go back to the first episode, which Edward has recommended you not listen to, he talks about this in depth. But
yeah, I produce a funk band and then I just sample it. I just bounce it down to one wave and just speed it up to the tempo that I need to and pitch it up. So it gets this weird sound from the 90s, as if I sampled like an 80s, 90s record, whatever, like a 70s record. So that's how Chicago house and Detroit house was produced as well. They got a bunch of like cut up stuff from the 80s and the 90s. They process it through like like a sampler, whatever, like an MPC or an SP1200, whatever gave that like 10-bit grid with a dump sampled sound. This is what I did. I came up with a chord progression.
It's a great band name, by the way, 10-bit grid.
10-bit grid. I got a better one, the Multi-Man Depression.
Depression. That's an emo band of audio engineers.
So that's what I did. I came up with a chord progression, I sampled it, and then both 22 Bullets and we came up with the rhythm track with the backbone, and then we went back and forth until he's like, this is the version. And then I added those little quirks, little arps here and there, and mastered the whole freaking thing. Whatever I used, that was the first master where I used the DSM version 3. I don't know if you know that, the DSM version 3, that's like Dynamic Spectrum Mapper. It's a plugin alliance plugin, which what it does is you can create a snapshot from a reference, and then you can apply it onto the master. I just took a cool house song, create a snapshot like the frequency curve, and then applied it to the master. But it does more than applying only an EQ curve, because Isotope did that before, just snapshotting in the Q curve and applying that to something else.
Right.
The DSM, the dynamic, like as the name says, does it dynamically, which is like multi-band compression, spectral processing. By the way, it's produced by the same guy that came up with Inflator, Paul Frindle.
Oh yeah,
that's the same guy. He came up with a plugin as well. So it's very underused. I don't see a lot of people actually using it, but this is what gave. I feel like this is what gave the mix the last 15%. So it went from dull to like, this is it. I probably took a reference track from Jax Jones. He's like very big in the house scene, the mainstream house scene, and then I just applied that to Oliver Heldens maybe to the track, and that was very dope. So that was special, because that plugin sometimes it doesn't work all the time, but when it does, it hits the right spot.
Are you able to kind of like apply like a wet dry knob?
Yeah, definitely,
to that?
Because 100% would be over the top. I settled maybe somewhere in the middle. And yeah,
wild.
Then
that's crazy.
Then we just sent it out to a bunch of labels, and usually 22 Bullets. He doesn't have any problems with like label releases. And then Don Diablo, the head honcho at Hexagon, picked it up and he liked it. He commented on my shit as well. He knew that I co-produced it. My name is in the credits, so it's not like a ghost production. I don't do that anymore, at least. So that was dope, and it's special just because it's my sound, but in a different disguise, because I would go usually like a little bit slower, 110, 115, a little bit more funky. That was like my sound distilled, but into a house record.
Yeah.
And then I started producing bunch of house afterward because I like house by itself. I'm a huge Disclosure fan. So that was kind of cool.
That's awesome, dude. When you were talking about DSM, I studied psychology in college, and the DSM, I think, is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. So that's how you decide if somebody has multi-band depression, is with using the DSM.
It keeps popping up in my life.
Way too insider baseball, but I obviously don't use my psychology degree ever, but I just remembered that when you said that.
You
are funny.
You have a psychology degree?
I have a degree in psychology, like a bachelor's.
That's dope.
And a BA. It's like an art. It's a BA, like a bachelor's of arts, not bachelor of sciences. So
right.
It was like a third of my courses. I did like statistics and some labs and stuff.
Still dope. Super applicable to marketing and such.
Maybe I haven't thought about that, but I think of it more in the context in the studio of like me being there, listening, like actively listening to the artist, and really being there and engaging with them.
Right.
If anything, but I think that's mostly just because I've been doing this. So, like, I don't think there's much that I've gotten from my degree other than maybe learning how to learn. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's why I never got a degree.
Yeah, hell yeah, you could do it all. Listen, unless you're becoming like a doctor or
right. I definitely. I'm not hating on that at all. Like my wife, is a chemist. She's got a master's degree in chemistry. So
there you go.
That's
taking care of that for you.
Definitely.
Well, Edward, the track is super dope, and
thanks a lot.
It's been super fun to catch up with you, and I actually learned a ton. Just schmoozing with you.
I hope that was not only me talking for like almost 2 hours straight.
Well, it's actually
it's been good to me as well, and I'm interrupting you again, and that's my thing.
Go for it, man.
But I'm actually outside of my students that I have I have a couple students regulars on a weekly basis for production, mix and mastering, whatever. Outside of that, and then my close family, which is my mom and my wife, I don't talk to people like at all. Like I don't have the time. I'm so focused on getting my shit, together. Then, the only time that I have free, I either spend it with my wife or just, play a game for like an hour, and that is it. So over the last couple weeks to whatever, and my therapist is the only guy, I can actually talk to on the proper basis. Yeah. So that was good to me as well to actually get into talking, because I'm usually just mute.
I totally hear that, man. Well, I'd be happy to chat again,
Dude,
even off the podcast.
You're getting onto my podcast next up, so
I would be thrilled. Let me know.
Then I can shut up and listen to you for a couple hours.
Totally. I mean, I don't